I want to play more Rogue Trader. All right, I want to talk to white-haired gal. I'm assuming... Let's just try this out. Are these, like, quests to accept, or... Are these just, like, points of interest? Oh, yes. Greetings, Lord Captain. Who the heck are you? The very picture of discipline. Her uniform is pressed. Her armor is polished and her posture is imposing and rigid. Oh, one sec. At least you practice in motion. Okay. You were wearing Imperial Navy armor. How did you come by it? I inherited from the previous Master at Arms. Like the esteemed Seneschal, he left the Navy to serve Lady Theodora. He brought quite a few officers with him and established a tradition upon the death or resignation of an enforcer. His or her armor would be passed on to a fellow officer who had distinguished themselves in the course of their duties. I was awarded armor in this way in my time. Upon the death of my predecessor, I inherited his personal armor. What is your opinion of me as Lord Captain? I do not doubt the astuteness of your decisions, but beyond that, I'm impressed with you. I have heard about the brutal punishments that you have endured, Lord Captain. She looks away, but before she does so, you notice a strange spark in her eyes. Your tenacity deserves admiration. I just got here, bruh. Oh, what the? Awareness test succeeded. There's a fire in the black depths of her gaze. If she could, she would devour you whole with her sidelong glances. What? Wait, is this a companion? Because the thing is, I don't know the personality of any of the companions, so it's like... I can't let them doors close, you know, just in case. I seem to be detecting something more than mere admiration. Then what about awe? She stares at your neck, right at the star peeking out from under your collar. Her pupils dilate, and she licks her lips involuntarily, thinking about what you have suffered leaves me trembling. What the heck? Whoa. You forget yourself. Of course, Lord Captain, she forces us to look away again. What do you think about the other officers? I do not trust them. I do not trust anyone. Mistress Tullyman has too much power, and will surely be tempted to start deciding for herself what information to share with the crew on behalf of what to withhold. Ravor is closely intertwined with the ship's systems, which opens up plenty of opportunities for sabotage. He must be watched. As for Danrock, forgive me, but a man of his size and habits cannot help but steal. What can you tell me about Abelard? The Seneschal is a model of competence and fidelity, and all the officers and enforcers look up to him with gratitude. A grimace of fierce devotion takes hold of Sauerbach's face, before she abruptly grits her teeth and continues. It is all the more distressing to see what the years have not been kind to the deeply respected Master wh40k. Oh no. Soon, there will be no rejuvenant treatment that can save him from the mistakes inherited in such advanced age. But we are ever watchful, and will be there to steady the trembling hand of the honored veteran if need be. I want to know more about your service. I'm going to answer your questions. What are the Master of Arms duties? Responsible for upholding safety aboard the ship. Guard duties, patrols. In addition, my forces assure the crew follow all... Yep. There are thousands of people aboard the vessel. How do you maintain order? 2 words, Lord Captain: suppression and fear. Base nature of rabble cries with iron grip lest you give into their animal urges. We have many well-tested measures to prevent it: random dice searches, preventative interrogations, dwarful punishments, and executions. Of course, the laws of the ship equally apply to the officers. Eradicate the canker of insubordination wherever we find it, without mercy. I repeat the mistakes of the previous master at arms. Let's see. You can be sure of that. He was a fine enforcer, suffered from the fatal flaw of entrusting his associates. I myself lack that weakness. Trust no one except you, Lord Captain. Wait, actually. No, yeah, I'll still talk to her.
Rogue
He looks
trader.
tired. Oh, voiced? Did he have a... Tell me about yourself.
About me? I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to tell about me?
Tell me about the Adepta.
Gladly. There are none more faithful to the God Emperor than my sisters. We fight against his enemies by the will of the Holy Ecclesiarchy. I beg your pardon, rogue trader. Here I am talking about what every lesser noble in the Imperium knows. So what exactly are you interested in hearing about?
Say they're the fiercest of the faith among the warriors. Is that true?
It is. The Sisters of Battle are a fire lit by the God Emperor. They are the echo of his voice that travels through the dark expanses of the universe. We bring his wrath to heretics, mutants, and other enemies of humanity. We protect the faithful from the unholy and unhallowed. Sometimes with words, more often than not with a bolter.
Are the sisters truly faultless, as you say?
Even the novices of the Adeptus Sororitas are drawn from among the most worthy. Those who have taken the vows and become a full-fledged sister are the best of the best, tested by trials of body and spirit. Yes, there have been cases when a sister stumbled or showed weakness, but do not expect to hear a story of depravity or downfall from me. Each such occurrence is a great tragedy for us all. Light cannot bear the smallest speck of darkness within. And thus those who have trespassed or shown weakness of spirit are given a chance at redemption. They are called Sisters Repentia, and may the enemy tremble before her, for nothing can stop a sister of battle who yearns to be cleansed of fault and weakness. Wearing nothing but robes, no armor, eviscerator in hand, those sisters who have once faltered find repentance on the battlefield. Their lives are seldom long, but a death in the name of purgation is a better fate than to live with a shadow in one's soul.
What order are you from?
Once I had completed my novitiate, I was sent to the Calixian branch of the Order of Our Martyred Lady, assigned to the Order's Pronatus. The Order's mission is vital and noble. The Sisters Pronatus protect great relics of the Imperium. We guard them, preserve them, escort them when they are brought onto the battlefield or presented for pilgrims to venerate. And we seek out the relics that have been lost. Neither a coven of heretics nor the most wicked death world can deter Sisters Pronatus when their goal is to return a piece of the great legacy of the Imperium into the hands of the faithful.
The Order Pronatus is not one of the Order's militant, and yet you are a trained fighter.
Don't let the name deceive you. The Order's militant trains sisters to march onto the battlefield as an army. That does not make sisters who belong to the non-militant orders timid and helpless. Both the solace-bringing Sisters Hospitaller and the enlightened Sisters Dialogus know how to greet enemies of humanity. Their dialogue with heretics is usually quite short, with the last word being a bolter discharge. And my order has all the more reason to be known for the martial prowess of its sisters. We are the keepers of the Imperium's relics. What would become of our blessed hero's legacy if the Sisters Pronatus could not protect it?
You said you belonged to the Calaxis branch of your order. Yeah. What brought you to the Coronis Expanse?
The Order sent me to Footfall. My undertaking was to assist the local priesthood of Drusians in caring for a sacred reliquary that had been there since the time of Parsimus Duane, the station's founder.
Are there any other members of the Adepta Soro... Oh my gosh, I want to pronounce these words, but they're so fancy. Adepta Sororitas in the Coronis Expanse?
None that I'm aware of, but the Sisterhood's orders are many, and can operate independently of one another, sending their sisters wherever their presence is needed as deemed by the Ecclesiarchy. Perhaps somewhere in the Lord Inquisitor's retinue, may his path be blessed, my sisters perform their duty as we speak. I wish it were so. Even a single evening spent in joint prayer and training would bring me joy.
I have no more questions about the Sisterhood.
Should any more arise, keeping them to yourself would be imprudent. It is a virtue to take an interest in holiness.
How did you end up on Theodora's ship?
I first came here when I found myself in need of passage from Footfall to a remote planet. But I imagine what interests you is not that first journey, but rather what brought me aboard prior to the cultist attack. That story is complicated. It just so happened that I made a mistake. In a moment of laxity, I was ambushed by the accursed followers of the archenemy. I was badly wounded. Lady Theodora came to my aid and brought me aboard her ship, where crew attended to me in my weakened state. It all happened not too long ago. I had barely recovered from my wounds when the cultists struck. Truly, the servants of evil know no rest. There is no place where we can be safe from their machinations.
How about the people who wounded you to Theodora? It's difficult for you to accept. Yeah, what happened to the people?
Sadly, they did not. Lady Theodora was in a hurry and chose not to stay on the planet. Her people took me to a ship while I was unconscious, and when I came to my senses, we were already flying away. How I pray to come face to face with those heretics once more, and it's bound to happen someday.
Is it difficult for you to accept that you made a mistake?
It happens even to the best of us. My mistakes are my burden to bear. I'll find a way to atone for them.
Where did this happen?
On one of the recently discovered planets in the Expanse. No one suspected that it had already been tainted by the filth of heresy. Had I known it beforehand, of course I would have been on my guard.
We could go to that planet and deal with the Chaos Worshippers.
The path to that planet was lost. All the knowledge is gone, along with the previous navigator. It would take immense effort and resources to rediscover the route. The heir to the von Valanci's protectorate must have plenty of other issues to deal with right now. Perhaps later, when the skies above our heads have cleared.
What was it like traveling on Theodora's ship?
I hadn't been here that long. Just one journey from Footfall, and
Like this session's just going to be a lot of background and listening to NPCs.
I can't tell you much about the first
Which I'm fine
voyage.
with. I love listening to characters just expound and expound and
The
expound.
people around me, or the journey itself. During the last journey, Seneschal Viserion stood out for me. He came by several times to ask about my health. He's an honorable man and a loyal servant of the Imperium. I think he is as meticulous in his inspections of the logistics systems as he is in his inquiries about the health of the occasional sister of battle aboard the ship. But not all of Theodora's people have earned my trust. You know who I'm talking about.
Huh.
There is no place for Adira Tlas among the God Emperor's faithful. I'm surprised she wasn't in league with the cultists. And I'm equally surprised by how deep heresy and treason run in this place. I'm glad we all made it through that dark hour. May the day that follows be bright. As you wish.
What's you that keeping me? What is this keeping you in my retinue? I can't tell for some reason if that's going to be a rude thing to say.
Greetings. The ship was targeted by heretics, which means that my presence here and the assistance I provide to you are my sacred duty. Sooner or later, I will likely have to return to Footfall to protect its reliquary, but for now, I wish to remain a part of the Rogue Trader's crew.
Please me to have a servant of the Golden Throne in my crew. May the enemies our onslaught. I enjoy your company. I hope that you remain in the crew of the ship. It becomes your home. Might be of use to me. I see no place for you. This one probably what she's like to hear. This one's gonna be a little personnel. I don't know if she's going to appreciate that though. She might also think I'm trying to take her away from her duties. Enjoy your company.
Those are very courteous words, Rogue Trader. Thank you, both for your words and your hospitality.
Sweet. She gives you another somewhat puzzled look. You said you have a personal request for me?
I indeed have a request, Rogue Trader. The accursed servants of Chaos who assaulted this ship took the lives of your loyal crew members, and they orphaned many children, including the progeny of the brave officers who defended their posts until the bitter end. I don't know what customary practices there are for cases like this in Von Valancius territory, but in the world I'm familiar with, the children of such brave souls could expect to receive some special consideration. Perhaps the Rogue Trader could meet with the orphans?
These that they deserve. Let's see. So make arrangements. So this is like a big grand speech. I'll meet with them. No formalities needed. These are the children of people who gave their lives for the Von Valaxius dynasty. My consideration is the least that they deserve.
I will pass on your instructions. Thank you for taking my request to heart.
Oh, we're just going straight into it. I think I saved right before some of those discussions. Just in case I make a bad decision. I'm sure it'll be fine, though. What's up, orphans? The motley group of adolescents do not take their eyes off you, gazing at you as if you were a creature straight from a fairy tale. Our indefatigable sister has been keeping an eye on these pups. Glances at the gathered children. It is hardly the Schola Progenium in here, but we have provided the orphans on our ship with adequate care and instruction. Standing at the side of the group, they all bowed. As you approach, she perks up and announces, her voice ringing, "Brave ones, the master of this ship has appeared before you, the one who guides it through the darkness of the universe by the Emperor's will. Greet your Lord Captain, the rogue trader of House Von Valaxius." You notice Infernus Master Enrich Montag standing a few paces away from the orphans. He watches you with approval and bows respectfully when you meet his gaze. Let's see. Now your parents stabilized. Smile at the group. Your Lord Captain greets you, brave ones. Teenagers keep staring at you. A girl who has remained close to Argentia smiles uncertainly. A skinny, pale lad tries to throw his shoulders back and stand at attention like a soldier. Only a few teenagers at the far end of the row seem sullen and not particularly impressed. One of the stallion visitors with a thin star across his face tosses his head back and says bitterly, "So what? Why would we care? Our friends and parents died in the dozens for you noble lot, and you just give us speeches?" Argentia quickly turns to the boy. A flurry of emotions flashes her dark eyes, like she wants both to calm him and scold him for his impudence. Address the chaperones. I should make her put the rest back in their bait. Nah. Their comportment leaves much to be desired. I hope that they will be molded into worthy servants. If you have things to say them without fear. I will listen. The boy smiles grimly. It doesn't matter what we say. It won't bring our parents back. It won't change our fates either. We'll keep slaving away on this ship until we drop and die like our folks, or worse. Ooh. Your parents died. It's not easy to think it through. We gave the lies to truth. The heretics took your parents. I was there. I took command. I fought and I repelled the assaults as quickly as I could. No war can be won without losses. The strong have the power to decide the fate of others. The weak either obey or die. If you seek difference in life, boy, save your grumbling and look for opportunity to rise above the rest. I'm feeling a little torn on this. I feel like I can see the negatives of all of these. It's either I coddle, I accept, or I be stern. Or of course I just say F this. Is this one I could maybe be like, I could hear them being like, it's your fault or something. I'm gonna go with I've been warm so far, I'm gonna keep being warm. You heard the rogue trader. His words carry the wisdom of the Imperium. It's hard to say whether or not your words have left an impression on the boy, but he nods slowly, then he catches himself and gives you an awkward bow. Abelard gives a sign, the servants immediately emerge carrying packaged treats with von Valanaxius, I already forgot my name, emblazoned on the wrappers. It appears that the seneschal came prepared for any contingency. They have candy. Huh. Oh. Rubs her temple pensively and smiles and offers a few more words of encouragement, then leaves the bay. Does she want me to be a little more stern? Does she not like that?
Greetings.
Even as Stella's radiates energy, dark eyes shining and and a slight blush in her cheeks. She is reciting a prayer and she looks at you only once. She has spoken her final line. Oh, I thought there was gonna be a follow-up on that. She seemed unhappy at the end there, so I'm a little like, I don't know. You're Voidborn, are you not? I am born of Hellsman, the clan of Bells. So they found me straight when I was 15. An entire clan was butchered in a mutiny by lower hold scum. They spared the youngins, of course they did. Kids with implanted connectors make great navigational servitors, but I was having none of it. They weren't going to make a servitor out of me, so I stayed into the crawlways. I spent months picking them off one after another. You got me talking up a storm. Anyways, yes, I'm a Voidborn. Finish your story. Not much to tell. I got it everyone I could get to, and then I fled upward in the middle decks. That's where the Aguar operators took me under their wing. They have apprentice helmsmen of their own up there. You see, nobody asked me any questions, so I stayed. I grew up, trained, got smarter. Then it ended up a junior helmsman. A dozen years later, Danrock spotted me and lured me away, the cheeky blighter. What about the Voidborn? I mean, no respect for aren't you? You do better to find someone with a knack for conversation like Tollyman. Okay. What can you tell me about the other officers? Good for nothing wasters. That's what they are. Each and every one. Pig Dan Rock, the highborn weasel. Yeah, I wonder if you can hear Remy in the background growling at me. He fawns over the officers, but some of the deals he makes could get him burned alive. He drags other people through into his scheme so they can take the fall for him too. One of my junior helmsmen was ferrying goods from Footfall for him, got caught by the Senshal, and ended up in the Void Hatch. Danarok couldn't care less. Foxmaster, another Tollyman like the last one, Void, rest him, is no better. She cut off half the Vox channels the day she took up her post, so the Vox systems were damaged, and the Engineerium had no contact with other modules. But how am I supposed to steer the ship, connect the cogs, reports with the power on my mind? First Officer Wersarian, I can't stand him. Like every Navy officer I've met, he doesn't know a thing about controlling a vessel in the void. But he puffs himself up all the same and throws his weight around. Me and him had to have words a few times before he left me alone. Think the Emperor Lady Theodora trusts in me more than Seneschal when it came to helming a void ship. And there's that woman. What's her name? Tlass? Lady Theodora brought her along wherever she went. And look what happened to her. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out it was that witch that delivered her to an early grave, just like countless souls before. I don't see why anyone would want that walking calamity on the ship. But some would disagree. They say she's friends with young Tollyman, you know, or at least they used to be. You like anyone at all? Looks perplexed. What kind of question is that? I like you, and Leia Theodora before you. Where would I be if I was making cracks about the rogue trader? Huh, I don't want to die just yet. I must take my leave. Got a whole lot of chit-chatting to do. At your service. Smells of cinders and Io. His face is sooty. How did you come to be in service of the von Velanacius dynasty? Not the usual way. My ancestors wronged yours and were appointed Inferni as a result. Hard labor, deadly risk, plenty of opportunities to atone. Those criminals have been dead for generations, but we are still serving their time. Maybe we'll find redemption one day. Tell me more about the Infernus Guild. What interests you the most, or do you study the art equipment or vibrant traditions? How's the guild organized? Okay, there's a lot more background. Of course it goes. State of our equipment, that sounds interesting. That was a bit of a stretch, I'm sorry. There's no state of art equipment. The risk of running it in a fire are too great. We get by using human resource, the most common items available. Respirators, fire extinguishers, and flame retardant uniforms. Let's face it, the lives of the Inferni are not worth much. It's more important than to save the machines, damage the ship. What traditions? We have plenty of those. Like there are reminders. When you survive a particular hopeless accident, you get a tattoo on your star. You can always tell on experience Infernus by their ink. It's like a badge of honor. Tell me how you got your reminders. Tattoo on his right forearm. This one's from the time plasma leaked from the outer aft circuit. Imagine yourself clinging to the hull outside, thermal clutter in one hand and magnetic clamp in the other. Azure flames burst from the breach, the kind that can incinerate you in seconds. All that separates you from death is a flimsy rope and a void suit, more ancient than Holy Terra. And yet the price I paid was nothing compared to my comrades. He slowly moves an augmented finger of his right hand. As for this one, the look he directs at his left hand is full of bitterness. I got this one in the ammo depot where my wife, Ellis Sonora, died. Oh, there was a fire and the flames were getting close to the ammunition. I don't mean auto gun rounds. These were macro cannon shells. We put out the fire as best we could, but we were losing. Suddenly, Elsie took my hand, kissed me, and then ran straight to the blaze and activated an emergency blast door. We stayed outside while she vented the compartment. His tender smile, gazing at the smoke. It was quite the story. I'm sorry for your loss. He nods gratefully and takes another puff. I've learned all I need. Never let your fire go out, Lord Captain. I mean, no. That's just a stupid little guild in-joke. Seriously, if you see any infernus, next to a naked flame, run. Impale woman stands among the rest of the crew. Oh, it's the same thing as before. How may I serve you? Oh, fellowship 100%. Connect me to the vessel's main channel. I wish to bolster the morale of my crew. It is done, Lord Captain. You address the crew with a rousing speech and hear your voice roll through the ship, reaching even the normally quiet corners of the vessel. When the broadcast ends, you hear distant shouts of approval. Sick. Remind me who you are. Voxmaster. Whoa. That's a lot. Voxmaster Octavius Vigdis Suri Otta of the Ptolemon dynasty, and current Voxmaster serving aboard your vessel. In accordance with the Seneschal's orders, I assumed this duty immediately upon the demise of the esteemed Voxmaster Septimus, who was my grandfather. What are the Voxmaster's duties? And here's the voice of the voyage ship, or supervise a dozen officers, receive, send, and crib. So there are communications team. In other words, concerns your crew are harboring, what your subjects are whispering about in the local networks after their watches, and what their leaders are clamoring about over shortwave Vox transmissions. Just come to me. I will satisfy your curiosity. Have the Vox spirits brought you anything interesting lately? Forgive me, Lord Captain. I have no information that would be of interest to you at the moment. Cool. Are you you're Voidborn, are you not? Don't you know, Lord Captain? Both of us were born in the cold vastness of space, but there are no two identical tales, just as there are no two identical stars. If you like, I will gladly tell you about the lives of the Voidborn aboard this vessel. Tell me about the lives. Just Rowan's Creed's membership. Speed reading this backstory and flavor as much as I can. Numerous functions, many officers among us. Most Voidborns are members of large void ship dynasties that bear responsibility to a certain aspect of the ship's life. For 300 years, the main branch of the Ptolemon dynasty has produced the ship's Vox Masters, and most of our subordinates come from the cadet houses of the dynasty. How do you find life on the ship? Life has been quite generous to me, Lord Captain. I am the Vox Master, and only the best in the dynasty can become one. By virtue of my skills and position, no one has ever denied me anything. Our family claims a spacious section for its Can I help you? I don't know if my microphone's picking up my dog. Why are you growling at me? What's your business? What's your business? He's fighting my hand. Virtue of my skills, posture. I also enjoy long walks through the narrows and dimly lit corridors of the ship. Listen to the sounds of her activity, falling asleep and waking up to the chanting of hymns and admiring the stars beyond, of course. Sweet. How do others on the ship treat you? We look, speak, and move differently from the inhabitants of the planetary worlds. Our ways of life, traditions, quirks frighten these people just as like the darkness of the cosmos. Many believe us to be the bringers of ill fortune, and alas, it is the Voidborn who get the blame for terrible warp phenomena during longer voyages. 3 years ago, an unfortunate warp jump caused all the food on board to spoil. 15 days later, a hungry and furious crew nearly massacred everyone on the lower decks, blaming us for the misfortune and hoping to restock the larders with our flesh. I would have been killed during the mutiny had Idratlas not shown up at the right place at the right time. She came to my rescue, with the scoundrels' fear of her was even greater than their fear of the Voidborn. Looks like you were close friends with Adiria. Those tiny wrinkles appear as the corner's eyes that only hint the Vox Master is smiling. The Voidborn seldom make friends, especially among the captain's entourage, but you see, many consider Adiria to be different. I am different too. We spent plenty of time in each other's company, discussing regicide over a glass of Amasek. Except Adiria changed after one incident, and we started to drift apart. The death of Lord Captain Theodora made her withdraw even more. I do not know if Adiria considers me her friend now, but we used to be very, very close. It is good I can still look after her in my own way. Perception text succeeded. Germany Voxmaster's motion based on half-face voice task, but you managed to catch undercurrent in Vigis words. Voxmaster's not merely saddened by the rift, but is devastated by it. Have you ever left the ship? Oh, I did once, and it was dreadful. I felt like the massive blue dome overhead could shatter at any moment and fall. My bones would be crushed by the gravity. The ship is my home, Lord Captain, and I would not trade it, even for the bounty of 100 worlds. Interesting. So mayhaps I can try and mend this friendship. Oh,
Lord Captain.
Whoa.
Lord Captain.
Let's try that again, but without... Oh, why is my...
Captain. Lord
Trying to eat his nose off. Back up. Personal space. There we go.
Lord Captain.
Those are the things that may be useful to me as a rogue trader.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
Outline the situation in the Chronos Expanse for me. What do I need to know and keep in mind?
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words, the Coronis Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels. Until recently, the Coronis Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Coronis Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse, and in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Who are the main players I need to be aware of in the Chronos Expanse?
In the first instance, you should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Coronis Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness. Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the Imperium. They have been accorded special rights and powers. They wield immense authority within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Kalagos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbala Commission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall, and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces, and hold influence over rogue trader Chorda. And finally, the third faction, the Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Coronis Expanse.
Conrad, our previous Master of Whispers, can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he'll do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voigtveer. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight. We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the Von Velatius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. but everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake. If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps.
That's all for now.
As you wish, Lord Captain.
I'd know more about my seneschal.
As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
What were you before you became Theodora Seneschal?
I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, a used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium. I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then, that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue traders' personal council. It was a difficult choice for me, but I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse.
Even the Imperial Navy is far from easy. Why were you permitted to quit your post?
You could say there was no one among the Naval Command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. Well, the Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy. Contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world. And which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue. The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing, or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
Dang. When you talk about Theodora, I'm beginning to think you were in love with her. Whoa.
What? Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and bordering on the insulting. Utterly baseless.
Do you have a family?
I am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Dang.
Of course.
You may call me by my first name if you wish.
I thank you for the honor, but I must decline. As a former military officer, I believe in the importance of order in all things, including the chain of command. You are the Lord Captain, my direct superior. I am not prepared to address you in any way other than as regulation dictates. Lord Captain.
Alright, let's talk to another voiceless person. Oh, wait. Huh? Oh, that's just the map, probably, to choose where I want to go. I would assume. Who are you? Oh, I already talked to her. How'd you come to serve my ship? Never saw by how you have director 6,000 round for facility instructor law division master. Or are you in here instead of basking in the luxury? This is my cousin. cannot stand him, but the feeling is mutual. We can hardly be in the same room together. So I jumped the opportunity to become an enforcer, which I thank my obnoxious cousin for nudging me towards the best decision of my life. I serve you with all my heart. Wish for no favor this one. Oh, funny man. The corpulent man is in lavish clothes, bows before you, not without difficulty. A servo scroll whirs above his shoulder, while the fingers of his augmented hand drum against a sheaf of papers he is holding, and he regards you with attentive interest through the lens of a magnifying implant. Greetings, your lordship. Jarnus Danrock at your service. Remind me, what is it you do on this ship? As the High Factorum, I just like how funny this dude looks. My duties encompass anything that might enrich you and your protectorate. I see to it that the supplies are delivered. So he's our... I can't even think of the word. The simplified word for it, but... He handles commerce, supplies... Prompt service, remember to enforce grace only be through goods. I also make arrangements to ensure that our holder receives less than thorough inspections by port custom officers. And I find buyers for whatever you wish to sell. And of course, I ensure that the Protectorate's worlds prepare their tithe in a timely fashion. Let none ever say in my lifetime that the dynasty has disgraced itself with a late payment of the sacred tribute. How did you come to serve? I come from another one from Darg Honus, your lordship. I've been a subject. I wonder if that's just where the ship usually, like, where this I forgot the name again, but my family is from, whatever. Subject to dynasty since birth, and I've always strived to be the great rogue trader. Alas, it is not my fate to be the primary heir of my own family due to my being 15th in line for the title. So I decided not to stand in the way of those behind me in case they attempted to shorten the waiting list at my expense. While my brothers and sisters schemed against one another, I studied the exact sciences and mastered bookkeeping, the greatest art of the Adeptus Administrarium. I must admit that the accumulation of wealth, something one can control, is far more exciting than hunting, carousing, and other traditional amusements of my noble peers. What was it like working with Theodora? Well, now this tricky question, your lordship. You do ask it of everyone, knowing they risk losing their heads should they slip a careless remark about your predecessor. I shall put it thus. Working with Theodora was never boring and always profitable. The Imperium has billions of subjects, but very few do what they love, and what they are best suited for. I would say Lady Theodora was one of the fortunate ones. She was a model rogue trader. She surrounded herself with those who excelled at and loved their work. Hers was a rare talent indeed. I wish to know what you think of your fellow crew members. Keeping tabs on your subordinates, a wise move. Tell me who interests you. I will endeavor to be as honest as possible. What do you think of the Seneschal? Lady Theodora managed to do what even the Imperial Navy could not: teach Master Wersarian to carry out orders that he fundamentally disagrees with. I do not know what method she used, but the result is impressive. Having said that, there is something else you need to know, Lord Captain. Your Seneschal is capable of being something far greater than a mere conduit of your will. He possessed the cunning and experience to run the Protectorate passively whenever Lady Theodora was away. And that really is saying something. Keep an eye on that old officer, I say, or alternatively, turn him into a faithful ally. I dear your opinion on Kunrad. I hope I never see him set foot aboard this vessel again, not even as a servitor, although he would be able to do at least some good that way. Someone has to clean the latrines after all. He gave us all quite a fright on that ill-fated day, Lord Captain, and still, to speak candidly, I never enjoyed Master Vogetrier's company, but I believed him to be a man who knew how to do his job. Regretfully, I was mistaken. It turned out Kunrad lacked the most important quality of the master for a Master of Whisperers: unwavering loyalty to the rogue trader, and his failing came to light in the most deplorable manner. What do you have to say about Voxmaster? Ah, yes, the Voidborn. You know, in my family, we use such creatures as quarry whenever we went hunting. Mutants are the bane of humanity, an unseen tumor that threatens to end us all. But I digress. In the brief time Tollyman has spent in post as Voxmaster, I've not noticed any significant flaws in her character, anything that would make me question her professional qualities. Needs to say, she's very diligent. As as is any Voidborn seeking to earn their master's affection. I believe you can trust her in skills and loyalty. They're a little distrusting of each other, but sometimes one will praise another and acknowledge that they're trustworthy. I don't know. I want to know more about the people who buy our plunder. Of course, Lord Captain, who interests you? Followers of Saint Durusus. Bring the Corona's expanse more embrace the faith. They flocked to help received native missionaries. They each create a food shipment to close a box of medicine marked your seal. Sign of Rogue Trader himself believes in the sect's future success. The first one, gloomy fellow. Tell me about the explorators. Sign knows what they are hoping to find. Supposedly. I'm interested in the Caspalicia mission. Masters of the Cold Trade, immortal criminals, and notorious crooks to the last man. The mission is but one branch of this mafia gang that has taken root in the Calaxis sector. You can do business with them as long as you take the necessary precautions. They are led by Vladiam Tokara, who recently appointed himself Liege of the Footfall. Of course, he is a trusted ally of rogue trader Winterstale, but he will not refuse you, another of the Emperor's anointed. If you wish to talk to Vladiam, look for him in the Liege's palace on Footfall. What is the Fellowship of the Void? It's a laugh. Mama's name is a non-truth. They are a gang of pirates who forever squabbling over loot and territory. However, some of their little flotillas need supply, or can take awkward cargo off our hands without asking questions. Of course, there is always a risk that these scoundrels will change their mind and attempt to board us instead, but so far our macro cannons have managed to keep them in line. They say Riza Calvaria speaks on the Fellowship's behalf. The Adeptus Amascuus on Footfall is rumored to be her favorite haunt. Why are we giving away our spoils to the people in the first place? The problem from them, of course, most of the things you find everything charged, especially the sort of grave traders himself, just Aryan fanatics, pirate cutthroats. Most of my retinue was still fighters. I'm sure there are a few people more contact overseers at once. Oh, what the? Oh, this is just how I... Okay, so this is... That's how I just make other inserts who I want to build and customize. Training. Oh. Okay, so he's the person I go to for still stuff like that as well. Oops. Wrong button. It's like my dog wants to be let out. Okay. Send him happily on his way to go get some water and run around outside. Upstairs. Head. Implant. Drawing off senses your presence. Deer turns her head towards you and offers a crooked smile, even as her eyes look right through you. Deary, about your abilities.
What are you talking about, Lord Captain?
I'm concerned about your level of control over your abilities. You are Psychers only granted the right to live with the Emperor's blessings. Have you ever been to Terra?
Look, Lady Theodora couldn't care less if some eggheads measured my brains or not. It's not about the seal on your forehead, get it? It's about what's in your gut, if it's rotten or not. My gut's stronger than the adamantine on this here ship. And my implants are better than the ones they put in you on your Terra. If they weren't, I wouldn't have lived as long as I have.
Where do you come from?
Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Coronis Expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best.
Tell me about Lyra.
It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win, from poison to psychers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. Trust me. But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention.
Never finished your story about your first time crossing the warp.
It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right?
What did you do before you came on the ship?
Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes. I did the same thing I do here, Lord Captain. Divining. Our rulers prized the ability to see into the future. Every psyker that could be found was worth a small fortune on Lyra. There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick psychers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time.
How did you end up in the Rogue Trader service?
Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. And as I gawped at her, all of a sudden I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then, Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered their guards. Also, I could tell them my warning in full. So, I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so, I entered the service of the Fawn Valancius dynasty.
Have you ever been off the ship?
A few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can, after some Amisec. But don't go getting the wrong idea. If I have to, I'll follow you to the edge of the galaxy. Of course, Lord Captain.
Got any story for me?
You bet I do, Lord Captain.
Whoa.
Okay, so we went to Footfall once. Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start.
Oh,
My head
I didn't
had
realize I
been
could swim.
yammering since I woke up. But there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrived at the place. And what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den. And not just any gaming den, but one run by somebody with deep pockets for people with just as much cash to splash. You should have seen it. People gambling away planets in a game of regicide. Anyway, so the Lord Captain wanted me to help her beat some guy. So I tell her, the chips won't land in your favor. You'll get a bad hand. Don't sit down at that table, your ladyship. But did she listen? Of course she didn't. If there's one thing she never lacked, it's stubbornness. So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. And they'd all gone for each other's throats. Literally. With teeth. And I think they completely detached that asteroid from Footfall and pushed it off into open space so it would head off toward the local star.
Jeez. What's it like being a psyker?
Lord Captain, forgive me, but it would be like talking to a person born blind about colors. I could spend hours explaining, but it wouldn't make any sense to you. Every psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it.
How do you live with this whispering in your head?
Training, habit, and a little Amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. You know, when life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow.
What would happen if your door burst open?
Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me. I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight.
Aren't you afraid of losing control?
Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster.
Can you see my future?
All right. That's what I'm here for, after all. So, I'm just going to lean on that door in my head a little more, prick up my ears, and listen to what the warp's got to say about you. If you'll allow it, I can listen right now.
Sure.
All right. Let's hear what they're whispering about you. Seek not on firm ground, but in a golden hall suspended in the void. There waits a child without kin, but with a name blind to truth. She draws the brush across the canvas and does not notice that her palette is full not of paint, but of blood. And with each smear, this well does not deplete, but fills and fills up to the brim. One thing is clear. When this vessel overflows, none will remain unstained. Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know that it is not the answer he must seek, but the question that will draw everything into focus. Will you help him, rogue trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion. A chained hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. The chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his master, or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord? The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it? I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
Imagine this is what you're saying. I can't.
All
Right now.
right. Let...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are
Did
going
you know
wild.
Theodora well?
None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well. Not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Only when I was asked. It's hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's gone. Lady von Valancius gave me everything I have. She opened the stars to me and the paths between them. I still think I can hear her voice.
Things are strained between you and Argenta. Isn't that right?
The little sister is afflicted with her own set of voices.
Huh.
Ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head.
Let's take my leave.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
It's at my quarters. Oh, what the? Oh, if I link it to my Twitch? Okay. June 24th ends July 15th. Well, I think I already... Well, bummer. Oh, this is how I can change my appearance and portrait if I ever want to. What is custom portrait? It just has to be... Select the portrait create earlier, then click change. Okay. Oh, that one sounded more like... Oh, should I change mine to that, actually? This is like a Navy officer. This one's like a crime lord, which is what I am. Sure. Okay, so if I ever want to change my appearance, noted. Just come here. That's just filling you with an odd sense of dread. What the heck is that? So what's that? Blinded eyes of this fierce monster forever. Oh. There's some slain creature up there. What the heck is this? Just mad relaxing. Tomorrow caresses your senses, and your grateful muscles welcome the chance to rest. A pleasant languor spreads across your body as you allow yourself a moment of quiet relaxation. Just some of my retinue? Argentia, I wish to know what the Sisters of Battle do in their spare time. Sure, at once. What? Lazarus, are you conditioning your body with the water treatments? How commendable. Allow me to share some of the water exercises I learned at the... Sure. Hold a moment. Oh, failed. It was contagious. You cannot help but follow Sister's lead as she demonstrates each exercise. I had a 90% chance I still failed. Argenta briskly explains how to stretch your muscles correctly. She makes a repeat after exercise multiple times as she teaches you the best way to do bends and squats. Her eyes are alight with righteous fire, and voice rings out with conviction. She shows the same dedication to completing each exercise as she does to destroying heretics. Oh, but I did succeed in athletic tests. The sister is tireless, and it is a challenge to keep up with her unrelenting pace, but you refuse to accept defeat. Your muscles are starting to ache by the time you finish the exercise, but your body feels invigorated. Wipes the sweat from her brow. Good work, Lazarus. A healthy body is like a finely tuned bolter, a worthy instrument of his will. I will take my leave now. Rest and recover strength. Bummer. Enforcers. Oh, there's guards out there. Relax and close my eyes. Attention slowly retreats as you bring yourself to complete stillness. Joint by joint, muscle to muscle, pore by pore. Before long, you have surrendered the bastion of your body to bliss of oblivion. Troubles, worries, loss, such things do not belong in this newly established dominion of tranquility. There are only the infinite waters of weightlessness, in which, stripped of all things superficial, the mind of Lazarus von Valaxius drifts in silent bliss. Oh. What is a conscious mind? What fills consciousness? Thoughts' momental duty as the Emperor. Such duty can only be fulfilled through service of death for such pride. So he needs to fulfill the waters. Who will drown and who will manage to pull to the surface? My service to the Emperor. Cool. What other little things that are around here to check? Another killed monster. There's our fragment. It is a rock. And textbook on leavings faded. Winner was never determined. What the heck? Was whoops. Why? Sure. I don't know what I just did, but I did something. He's actually best for this. And I don't know what any of that does, but cool. What the? Speak via the private channel. Greetings, your lordship. I can report that the choir is listening tirelessly to the immaterium in hope of picking up voices from the dynasty's ships or worlds. However, we have heard something horrifying and said amid the immaterium's tumult, something is screaming. This scream is driving your choir mad. Until it stops, we have no hope of contacting any of the dynasty's worlds. It is coming from the Rykad Systems astropathic station. What was the nature? I don't think we've been introduced. Indeed not. And we meet under lamentable circumstances. My name is Zachary Weitz. I'm proud to be the... Oh, right. They talked about him not being able to attend the meeting last time I played. Before we keep contract, expands message to war psychers. What was the nature of this stream? We do not know, your lordship, but it has brought the immaterium to a boil. It has always been a violent, roaring ocean that could spell doom to any who would consider stepping into its waters. Now, however, it has become a cradle of madness where expelled images fuse together, twisting and crackling before crashing into the minds of all who perceive it. A mighty warp storm, the likes of which I cannot recall, rages in the Empyrean, and it fills me with terror. If the screams stop, we'll be able to contact someone. I humbly hope so, your lordship. Perhaps we will manage to send a call for aid to Von Velasius Worlds or one of the dynasty's allies. I'm going to pay a visit to that station. Thank you, your lordship. Coming from the... So this... driving the ships. The station is dead out. The voice ship is motionless. There is lifeless silence across its Vox frequencies. Its lights are out. Even those who have no warp sensitivity can feel the presence of death. It is here, lurking in the shadows. All of this makes reading the reports of the ship's astropaths, who claim to be hearing an incessant ghostly howl emanent from the station, all more disturbing. Out of station by Vox. The station's not responding. There's no one left who could respond. Fully scouting team. The forces offered their prayers and proceeded to enter the uncanny station. What they saw inside that was monstrous. Astropaths upon their thrones. Not quite here, not quite now. Smudged, as it were, across time. Servants reliving their horrible deaths again and again, only to be reborn out of ashes and blood into more agony a moment later. Warp manifested itself here, twisting the very nature of existence. The main hall was covered in a crust of psychic ice. A green-robed, blind old man sat motionless upon a tall throne. He was quite literally embedded in the ice, yet he was still alive and streaming. Send Zachary my station with a squad of bodyguards. With my warp lore, Choirmaster Wise boarded the station in person, proceeded to the choir's hall. He stood silently for hours in front of a man frozen ice. He held a telepathic conversation with him. What's this? If worn by his psyker, the wearer gains immunity to horrors of the warp. Ooh. When Master Wise offered up a prayer to the God Emperor, and the unfortunate man passed away, upon returning to the ship, Wise reverently presented the Lord Captain with a grim trophy. the choirmaster's amulet taken from his frozen body. The psychic shriek carrying across the Immaterium has been silenced, but this has brought the crew no relief. A chilling realization came to the astropaths when they discovered that the cry was making a different sound. One even more terrifying and surreal. It was the melody of a cataclysm born from a warp storm of titanic power, so intense that the entire expanse must be able to hear it. It muffles astropathic messages and crawls into Psyker's minds, evoking everywhere the same image, a dark, gaping, beastly mouth, cleaving the universe in two. Now that the mad choirmaster has finally stopped screaming, the song of the Immaterium has reached the Rogue Trader's void ship. Ugh. Do we explore? I'm not gonna burn it down, but either we explore and I'll probably lose some scouts, or we seal it up. Explore! A brief chilling chronicle of the station's doom was found by the scribe's records. A warp disturbance of monstrous proportions wiped out half of the choir at once, turning the astropaths into living portals through which torrents of the Immeritum's energies poured out. Those who lasted longer bellowed and howled about a black rift that had split the universe into before and after, and a darkness that would devour the Astronomicon's light. Well, seems like... Burn everything? Ooh. Void torpedoes shatter the fragile station. One can only hope that the unfortunate souls captured by the warp have perished along with their home. Jeez. Those are my options with either to just trap those people or blow them up. Hold on, I want to equip that amulet real quick while I'm thinking about it. When Trevor reported, the heralds of the Navis Nobilite continued to maintain Vox silence, perhaps due to Urak 5 being off limits to visitors. We intercepted signals from the beacons drifting in the station's orbit. Commands are clear. We are told to turn the ship around immediately. We have also detected an accumulation of space debris near the station's docks. Presumably, these remains of interplanetary shuttles. Perhaps the esteemed Navis Nobilite house requires aid and therefore cannot respond to our Vox transmission. We will not invade a station without acquiring official approval. Scan the station. Officer from the Augur crew performed a full scan of the station, but the information is imprecise. They note wave distortions of unclear genesis and are throwing off most of the readings. We are unable to ascertain that the reactor. We were able to ascertain that the reactor core of the station is still active, but many compartments are unpowered and some fully depressurized. The signs of biological activity are largely present in the central module, which means the station has not been abandoned. So the question remains, why are these same navigator heralds ignoring us? Contact the station. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The station does not reply even after an official greeting by a rogue trader. and the declaration of your intent to negotiate in person. Oh, I can't save. Does this let me... Because that one, it went away. Will this make it stay here? Or Captain, only navigators are blessed with the gift of steering ships through the... Or to anyone else would succumb to the same nightmare she flew as a project through a vessel to attempt traversing warp space without... Oh. I feel... I do to remind you that naval staff are highly respected citizens of the... Our status of... Okay, commence with docking. Affirmative. You do not know what is happening on the station. Oh. I was confused. I'll be raided soon.
Pathetic worm. You dare to argue with your master?
It was not you whom I swore to serve within these walls. My lips are sealed.
Confess. What was the old man's last command? What are you planning?
Give up, Keeper. You have lost this battle. Again.
We're getting nowhere with these ones, sir. Permission to execute them.
Oh. There's just Wretches, you will be... Whoa. Royal Emperor, deliver your servants of peril. There's a lot to read there. Where doesn't I help you, servant of the damned? In the name of House Orselio, I command you to execute these infidels. Not a step further. Master, we have some strange guests on the station. This is a new companion, is that why his voice and everything? Oh no, doesn't have a... Tall man stops you with a gesture when you approach. Blood is trickling down the pearly scales of his weary face. And not just his own blood. Two jet black unblinking eyes are watching your every move, and the third one, the mark of the navigator's fate, is mercilessly pulsing behind the lower lid, in the middle of his forehead. Step back, or unleash the horrors of the sea of souls upon you. Emperor, be my witness. Abelard, if you would be so kind. I don't know what Abelard's gonna do. Is he gonna... You'd be so kind. Before you stands his lordship, the rogue trader Lazarus von Valaxius, heir to the greatest protectorate in the Kronos expanse and bearer the sacred warrant of trade. Allow me to point out that Nobilite custom requires the Lord Navigator to introduce himself first, but given the unusual circumstances on the station, his lordship, the rogue trader, is willing to turn a blind eye to your hostility, but just this once. In this case, I shall turn a blind eye to your unceremonious invasion, but just this once. There's a dangerous glint in the man's dark, shrouded eyes. Very well, allow me to introduce myself. Before you stands Felix Christopher August, keeper of this place. So you did not arrive to offer support to the traitors? This is great news. Having said that, you must understand that Iraq 5 is a holy sanctum for House Orcelio, and the path to it is only revealed to a select few. It pains me to say that you are not on the guest list. What happened in the station where all these corpses come from? Betrayal, a most banal thing in the life of the Nobilite, don't you think? I was stabbed in the back by my closest friend, Theobald Orcelio, the second keeper of Iraq 5 and my mentor. On his instructions, my people sabotaged the generators, blew up the shuttles, and brutally massacred the loyal servants of my mistress. Most unforgivably, they dared to take her prisoner, greedy scum. I swear by Throne's light, their souls will perish in the darkness of the void. Paul signed for a few moments, fiercely slammed the end of his staff on the floor. The madmen have captured Lady Cassia and are now torturing her upstairs while we idly chatter down here. Help me rescue her or be gone, but waste no more of my precious time. What kind of help are you talking about? I would never ask you for such favor under different circumstances, and yet... Takes his hand away from his ribcage, notices blood, and winces pain. And yet Lady Cassia's well-being is above all. I haven't got many people left, and my wounds are too deep for me to act with precision and swiftness, but you may actually succeed. In order to ascend to the mistress's chambers, you will need to remake a holy relic sanctified with the blood of Lady Orcelio herself. This is the control rod to the elevator machine's spirit. I have one part, and the other was lost during the mutiny. But even the relic will be of no use unless the elevator mechanism is powered. How do I remake the control rod? I have a phylactery containing the mistress's blood. It needs to be taken to the laboratory, which is located behind one of the reliquary doors. The most ancient of sacred mechanisms will help to rebuild the rod. The tech priest ceaselessly performed the rites of appeasement so that the machine spirit would serve the house in its time of need. The fateful hour is now upon us. How am I supposed to power the elevator? Station's main cognator is situated in the guard room. Just enter the correct command sequence and the sacred mechanism will do the rest. If it's so simple, why don't you do it yourself? I never said the feat would be easy to accomplish. The path to the laboratory in the guard room is blocked by the same madmen who took over the station. They will not negotiate and are not afraid of displeasing the Navis Nobilite or incurring the Emperor's wrath. They bow only to brute strength, something which currently happen to lack. Guess that makes sense. So what have you decided, descendant of the von Valachius line? Road Trader's aid will cost House Orcelio, but you should rejoice, for your mistress will live. You're tired. So be it. Hurry, mistress' safety is all that matters, but should you fail, our arrangement is finished. I got a phylactery of blood.
A new challenge for me. I tire of idleness. Let's move.
The premonition runs true.
Yes.
White. Bright, pure color. And it's all riddled with horrible veins that carry the poison of fear and pain throughout its body. Who are you? Why are you crying?
Who are you yapping about?
If the witch is talking about the enemies of humanity who set upon this abode of noble navigators, Then our weapons will soon dispel their wicked misery.
An expected result.
This is definitely going to be a battleground. Oh, yep, there's a guard right there. We are about to get into a fight.
Cast your eye there.
Yeah, I think it was just saying that, like, when you cross that, you're going to enter aggro.
Halt! I noticed something.
And there's another guard over there. But I like our cover a little bit more this way. Oh, it was a trap?
It's about time.
Time for we must not let the miscreants defile House Orselio. Fire will for House Orselio.
I won't heed your cries of mercy.
Urge them.
I'd like to get behind that pillar, but that's more than 6 spaces, so I don't know when or how I'll get there.
I'll pass.
Oops.
Already done.
Ooh.
Weapon at the ready.
That suffered worse.
No can do.
There is movement in the Empyrean. Was on it. Anything else?
My faith strengthens me.
Just a minus.
I must not falter.
Follow my lead.
If you could reach that cover. Ugh. I want to be in line of fire for a lot of dudes, which is what I don't like. I gotta get.
I'll do it.
My place is at the fore. At your beck and call.
Stay vigilant.
My ears are ringing.
Them around. Follow my lead.
Suits my purposes. All too easy. Nothing I can't do.
Ooh, that was a good chunk of damage.
Weapon at the ready.
Oh, I didn't catch that part that he's a healer. Shoot.
What an unfortunate turn of fate.
Actually, I'm gonna give it to her so she can safely approach in a better position.
Rejoice in battle! As the Emperor commands, I act.
Oh, what the?
The enemies of the Emperor will be undone! Faith without faith. In thy light I stand, and thy light I crave. As the Emperor comes,
Huge.
doubt is for the weak, is why I was chosen. That is not the Emperor's will.
Almost got him.
Victory is imminent.
Weather the storm!
Brace yourself, Abelard. Not a problem for me.
Got it.
My faith strengthens me.
They who discern the future own the battlefield.
Oh, cool. You can see the headshot.
Onward!
I've suffered worse.
God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. None can escape the Emperor's justice.
Good job, girl.
Indeed.
Moving out!
Just a minor setback. Never wavered in the face of adversity.
What the heck? Did I accidentally change my voice? Not realize it? That dude does not sound like...
My purposes.
Dude does not sound like I remember him sounding.
What is this foreboding? Will do.
Duty go hand in hand.
I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, strike is a prayer.
We shall prevail. We must act.
I think I accidentally changed my voice
I'll
somehow.
lay claim to the stars.
Maybe? I don't know.
We should deal with this.
Ooh. And a consumable item. Oh, that's right. That was the other thing I found was grenades. Guess I'll hold on to grenades. I forgot that I did have to replace someone's med. I guess I'll give him another one. A little bit of range here as well. Some AoE potential. Why isn't everyone moving?
Excellence matters.
Finding a lot of pieces for stuff. Not sure what it's all for.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Okay, it's almost raid time though, so I'll have to figure out what's going on with the voices. later. I just want to keep playing Rogue Trader.